Hi everyone, we are live. This is Arsenal Fan Circle Season 2, Episode 34. First order of business, and we got a packed show today for you. We've got a few more guests coming in on the panel. It's going to be packed. First order of business, Mahir, we want to wish everyone a happy Eid. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, you did pronounce correctly. We say Eid Mubarak, or yeah, congratulations on Eid for tomorrow. Basically, to all the Muslims worldwide, especially those here in South Africa who are celebrating tomorrow, which is Monday, and all of those who celebrated it today as well, one day in advance, because as you do know of time zones. We just hope they had a lovely Eid, and may the lessons we learned in this month continue, all the good
Yeah,
habits,
yeah.
hopefully.
Tony, thanks for joining us as well. Another member of the panel. We're going to have hopefully three more people in. It'll be packed. And we have a lot to get through today. But I wanted to shout out to Stephen Denham. He's already ragging on me. These are Alex Ferguson minutes, and anyone that knows our channel knows that we traditionally do not get off on time. So uh, thanks, Stephen. Really appreciate you. And I've been giving you the heads up about when we're starting. So if anyone does not get notifications, let me know. I'll send you a reply through YouTube, and so you know where your favorite show is every week, right, Tony?
Yep.
Noe, an ever constant on the channel. Welcome to you, Noe. We're gonna have hopefully Usman, who was on last year. Usman a little while ago, right? Maybe a year ago, I hear.
Yeah,
And
buddy.
Rohan and Glenn as well, and we're going to get into a quiz. So the order of business topics today is going to be we're going to go through the Bundesliga review, uh, transfer news updates. We're going to talk about Arsene Wenger because there was a feature, Tony, that you sent to me about when Wenger left. That was it. He wanted to leave for good, and he's never coming back to the Emirates. Well, I believe you should never say never in this world, right, Tony?
Yeah, you should. I don't think right. So he really doesn't want to come.
Yeah, so the other thing we're going to open up the debate is in those 22 years, did we actually win enough in those years? Were we successful enough? We all know the history, 22 years. A lot of it was very, very good stuff in the beginning, but we'll get into that a little bit later. And finally, we're going to round out with Ashley Cole speaks his mind. Something like 14 years later, right? He's had a lot of time to think about what he's going to say. Uh, and then some of the panel will have unpopular opinions, so we'll get into that. We're going to try and squeeze in a quiz. So this could be a 2 hour show, Tony.
I'll keep
Could be a
repeating.
2 hour show. But let's start off with the Bundesliga review, okay? It's starting to get down, Mayor, it's starting to get down to a 2 or 3 horse race. What were you watching any of the games over the weekend?
I managed to catch a bit of Borussia Dortmund, actually. And Haaland, I mean, what a phenomenal striker. And I
Yeah,
mean, even that team, you can admire Borussia Dortmund, something like RB Leipzig as well, because they have team built off a lot of youth talent and really, really, really good youth talent.
yeah.
Jadon Sancho, Haaland, Hakimi, who we've been linked to. There's
Brand,
so many to mention.
yeah, Brand as well. And they have Hummels, I think, at the back, right? An old veteran.
Yeah, of course. And Mario Götze, I mean, even a few veterans still around doing what they do, and it's just phenomenal to watch.
Yeah, Holland took that goal very well, Tony. Did you see any of the games?
Uh, just the Leipzig game earlier today.
You're a big Leipzig guy. We'll get onto that in a minute. Something I tweeted about earlier as well. But my here, let's talk about Bayer Leverkusen and Kai Havertz as well. He's had now in 2 games he's had 4 goals.
I mean, look, if we were ever looking at a big name replacement for the future, like a really, really big name, Kai Havertz would cost upwards of 70 to 80 mil,
Yeah,
which if we weren't backed into a financial corner by coronavirus, it would seem little realistic. But other clubs such as a United, as much as we do hate them, and Chelsea, they seem to be more. Like Chelsea got the ban and they didn't spend money. While
Yeah.
now they can blow a whole load of money without it affecting their club.
Yeah, it's
And
like
Kai
you're
Havertz,
you've all that pocket money saved up, and you're like that kid that wants to go buy the nicest car now. And they're going to go
the
out and do that,
biggest,
right?
the biggest present available on the shelf. He's just like, oh yes, I can't wait to take you home and open you up.
And Glenn Kiteley, you're in the comments. I don't know if you're coming to join us on the panel or not, Glenn. Let me know. Hello, boys. Happy Eid. I've literally set 10 questions. Hope you're ready. So I don't know if he's going to set the questions from the comments section or he's actually joining us or not.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Stephen said, we'll get into this a little bit later, Stephen, but the teams Wenger had should have won a lot more, and the Invincible side was dismantled too soon. Yeah, for sure. 100% right. Let's go to Tony now. We've talked about Dortmund. We've talked about Bayer Leverkusen and Kai Havertz. And now something I was really, really excited about today, the Leipzig game and Mainz. And I didn't know if other teams or stadiums would be doing this, Tony, but they actually piped in some sounds into the game, which lifted the atmosphere. We all saw last weekend how drab it looked like. It was like a training session, but they put this atmospheric sound from the crowd in. What you think of today's? What you think of that, Tony?
I think it was neat. Some atmosphere games last week as we were seeing the fans or the players clap with no fans out there, and the sound was a
Yeah.
welcome this week.
So little by little, as we mentioned with Rohan last week, that the Bundesliga is going to show the Premier League the way to go, Mahir. So this kind of sound system could be something to do in the Premier League if we actually play games in the Emirates.
It could be a very, what you call it, option, a very reasonable option. But then again, you guys do know my personal opinion on restarting the league, which I don't think we should actually
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
And they actually did something really funny in Japan. We they've played a few games and had blank dolls as 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 crowd spectators.
Blank dolls. Yeah. I saw on Saturday one of the stadiums actually had the cardboard cutouts of the fans as well.
Okay, that's funny. That is
Right?
actually funny, and that is more family, more of a boundary, like a family boundary around it. I mean, the whole Japanese thing. I mean, that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
was it mannequins or dolls, Mahir?
Mannequins, mannequins, yeah, mannequins from the shops.
Yeah. But in Japan they do things,
I
um,
love it.
they're a little
Yeah.
bit maybe a little bit ahead at times as well. So it could be coming to the Premier League. Could you imagine mannequins or dolls at Burnley or Newcastle? That'd be quite bizarre, right?
Yeah, I'm
So
sure the Geordies will riot if that kind of thing happens. They got enough going on for them.
shout out to everybody who's joined us. Stan is amongst them.
Man,
Stan, Glenn, Stephen, and Noe. So let me know what you all thought about the Bundesliga. Leipzig, they put 5 up on Mainz today. Did it end 5-0,
Yep.
Tony? Yeah. So we're looking at possibly a 3-horse race, and that will depend on Tuesday's game. Now let's preview Tuesday's game. We all know the one we're talking about, right? Dortmund are going to play at home to Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich right now have a 4-point lead. So, Mahir, what do you think of that?
let's go Dortmund.
Let's go Dortmund, right?
Dortmund is my German team, to be honest with you, and very closely is behind me is my comrade here, Tony, with RB Leipzig. I mean, facing a team of youth, but very good youth, and they just keep it on that model with good coaches such as even Julian Nagelsmann. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to watch. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Rohan, we were just reviewing the Bundesliga. What were your thoughts over the weekend? We talked about Haaland, talked about Kai Havertz, and the three horse race at the top.
Right, and Dortmund again winning there, and then Bayern Munich, like that was a goal fest, right? With Frankfurt, because
Yeah.
earlier in the season, in fact, Frankfurt had beaten Bayern 5-0 actually. So this was sort of a revenge grudge match, and then they sailed into a three-goal lead, and then Frankfurt got two back, but then Bayern showed their superiority, but it set up a really good game for Tuesday, right? Where
Yep.
it's the German Classico,
Yeah.
so that'll
Now,
be interesting to watch.
I personally let's do predictions. I personally think Bayern Munich have too much for Dortmund. They seem to be coasting through games, and I think they have enough to win at Dortmund. Rohan, what do you think?
I
Prediction
agree.
time.
I have seen good Dortmund sides, but somehow they have gone and they've got humiliated by Bayern season after season, right? And
Yeah.
but I do remember, was it last season? Yeah, I think it was last season when they did beat them 3-2 uh, in the end. Actually, Alcazar, I think, had scored, or
So,
that's what I think. But again, I think that Bayern just have too much. The class in their squad and the way that they just strangle the team. Yesterday, if
Yeah.
you were watching the game, when they have the ball, it seems like they have so much time, but the opponent, they just like strangle them. And it was maybe it was just Frankfurt, but
Yeah.
but I feel
They're
like
they're
the
very very
experience is what counts.
they're a very very well oiled team and machine, and they hold on to the ball, and they seem to be playing at 80% for me, Rohan.
Right, exactly. They're playing at 80%. Their players are versatile. And what I like about Bayern, notwithstanding the fact that they buy the players from their rivals and stuff, but what I
Hmm.
like about them is that they're not complacent. So they had David Alaba playing left back, and they found Alfonso Davis, who is a brilliant, brilliant footballer, in my opinion. He's rapid, and just as a footballer, he's really good, right? So they thought that he is the left back for the future. So let me move Alaba to center back, and because Alaba himself is such a versatile player, he can play in midfield, he can play as center back. They did not rest on their laurels and think that we've got Alaba and it's fine now. We don't need Alfonso Davis. But other teams would maybe think that. I could see Arsenal thinking we've got a left back who's good enough. We don't need to replace him with somebody who's better. Because this guy's good enough.
Yeah. And Stan has chimed in. He thinks that, and this is very much reminds me of Terminator. Haaland reminds me of Terminator. I think that the football
and
cyborg that is Haaland could make the difference for Dortmund. He just seems to be that machine that can put the ball in the net. Uh, Tony, your prediction for Tuesday? Dortmund playing at home to Bayern Munich.
I think Bayern will lose too.
You think Bayern will win? And of course, all of us probably wish that Dortmund's going to win that game because it's
Yeah.
going to make the viewing in the next few weeks a little bit better for us. That Bayern Munich is just not going to inexorably march on to the title. And Mahir, your prediction:
Dortmund
Dortmund
3.
3-1 win. Okay, that's brave. That is brave, and we do hope it happens as well. Rohan, just before you got here, I was talking about the atmosphere. Well, we were talking about last week how the Germans have figured out how to, if any team or not a team, any government can figure out how to finish out their season amidst the coronavirus pandemic, the Germans can. But I was actually talking about the atmosphere being lifted with the sound system in the Mainz game.
Yeah, they added that, right? Like, and that's, to me, it felt like there was some effect from that. I felt like there was some effect. Of course, it cannot B, that you've got fans there, it will not replace that. There was an idea, right? Like that for $20 a piece, the season ticket holders could get their life size posters or whatever in the
Yeah,
stands, and
in the stand.
that's
Yeah,
an innovative idea, and that money goes towards the COVID relief, etc.,
to
from their side. So,
and
which is a good idea.
to lift the atmosphere as well. I want to
Yeah.
welcome Usman. Usman has been with us before, maybe a year ago. I can't remember Usman. It was a long time ago. But welcome back to Arsenal Fan Circle.
Hey, thanks, Raymond. Great to be back.
We were just
So,
talking. Meet Rohan, and Mahir and Tony will come back to us. But for now, meet Rohan. Rohan
Hey,
Usman.
what's up, man?
hey,
Nice to have you here.
Rohan, how
Uh,
you doing?
so happy Eid if I've not said that already, Usman. But what did you think about the Bundesliga this weekend?
The Bundesliga was okay. Obviously I didn't watch much of it. I think the main ones that I saw was Borussia Dortmund against Schalke beating them 4-0. So
Hmm.
I saw that the the fans weren't there, but it's like they didn't need the fans put on a performance there. So I think it's whoever can get used. I think it's like whoever can get used to no fans being there
The
will be
situation.
the
Yeah,
ones that can do it well.
yeah, yeah.
So it's a bit strange to be playing football without the fans, but they take the first step and getting things back the way they used to be.
Yeah, exactly. It is a strange thing. We've been talking about it for a couple of weeks now, Rohan, and the players, of course, will probably get used to it. They're on the field, concentrating on the game. It's for us fans to assimilate to the situation.
Sure, but even for the players, I feel that there is some tangible effect of not having the fans, because take the cop out of Liverpool and make them play. That cop has to give them an extra 5% push,
Yeah, yeah,
or sort of make the other team feel nervous, take 5% from them, so that's that. You could see that the players aren't getting that intense. When the crowd is there, when everybody gets riled up, then the intensity of the game goes up by a couple of notches, right? So
yeah.
that's not happening, and that's why fans are so essential for any team.
And Usman, this morning when I was watching the games, they had the sound from the stadium simulating crowd situations. So I think that helped with the atmosphere as well.
I I guess so. Like the noise of the fans were there, it kind of helped them, but I don't think it's the same feeling to how it would be to have the actual fans
Yeah,
there.
yeah, for sure,
So
for sure.
yeah,
Maybe something we're going to see in the Premier League, whether you're for or against. Are you for or against continuing the league, the Premier League?
as long as it's safe to do so, then they can carry on with it. But
Yeah,
I wouldn't say carry on with the season. I'd just say just void the season as it is right now, because the situation in the UK is not getting any better. And also
correct.
take into consideration the UK didn't take it seriously when it became an actual situation. Boris Johnson said, "Oh, it's all right. You can go outside." Then you say, "Not go outside." To the point where he was shaking hands of people that had the coronavirus, saying, "Look at me, I'm shaking their hands. Nothing's wrong with me." And then karma came to bite him. Yeah, he has the coronavirus. So
Yeah, yeah,
if they want to
indeed.
go ahead with it, I would say as long as it's safe enough to do so, then by all means, it's your decision. But me,
Yeah.
I wouldn't go with it for the safety of everyone else's health.
Yeah, and just to finish off this section, quickly preview for me and give a prediction for the Dortmund and Bayern game on
Dortmund
Tuesday.
by
They're going to play on Tuesday, first and second, 4 points apart. Bayern will come to Dortmund.
It's going to be a tough game, obviously, and obviously whether it's their home ground or it's away, I don't think it matters in this situation. I think I want Dortmund to win just because like everyone seems to like Dortmund, and I kind of respect Dortmund in a way. I just don't like Bayern Munich because they've beaten us repeatedly so many times, but at the same time like them for beating Tottenham
Yeah.
and Chelsea. So
Yeah.
I would say Dortmund will. Sorry, I mean I think Bayern will win
Yeah.
by 3-2.
Yeah.
3-2.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Obviously, we all hope that Dortmund's going to win. It will pull things closer, and Tony, who's going to come back to us, would like Leipzig to be drawn into the conversation as well. So that's all a good thing, you know. So let's move on. Do you have any points that you want to make generally about Arsenal, Usman?
Well, first of all, I want to talk about the the Takashi 69 at the club. Basically, someone is being a snitch. Like when it came to the whole reduce your wages, it sounded like a good thing, and then they said that three players refused to take the wage cut, and they said
Yes.
one of the players is Mesut Ozil. Now, my problem is he even one of them that refused to take the wage cut? And secondly, who is the one bringing out the information? Because this is where people are just gonna have a right against it. Like, oh, look at him, he's not taking the wage cut.
Yeah.
He's being the bad thorn in the squad.
Yeah. The
Where
bad
we don't
apple.
even know, we don't even know if it's true. Like at least I don't even know if it's true. And secondly, we don't know who the other two players are, which I still think we don't really need to know because it's not going to affect us in any shape or form. And I think the other one was the Lacazette balloon situation. Now,
Yes.
with him, I don't see it really as the problem. I think the problem with it is the fact that he's exposed to the public of him doing it again after he did it the last year. So someone someone is writing them out, and like I said, just needs to realize, okay, who within his friend circle, who is he going to trust? Because someone's snitching.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah.
is snitching.
I'll take the first. I'll take both ends of that, and then we'll go to Rohan and Mahir. I think there is a concerted effort from the powers that be in the club to move Ozil on, and I think it was just opportunistic for them to call out Ozil as the one who did not want to take the deferral or the wage cut, whatever it is, and to call him out. It's the Arsenal PR machine against the Ozil PR machine, and try to make it as uncomfortable for Ozil as possible to enable them to move him on a year ahead of the end of his contract. And secondly, I think Lacazette's got to be a bit more careful with his social media. And you're right, Usman. He's got some people there. I don't know if it was done intentionally or not. Um, it's not illegal to do these things, but Arsenal and the institution that it is has a tradition to uphold. It's always been the club that has done things correctly, and it's kind of worrying in both of these instances that we're seeing these things happen and being played out in public. Rohan?
Yeah, I echo your thoughts. It's not a good situation to be in on either end, and I think the club, like we said before, lacks a direction in terms of what is it that you want to do. Do you want to freeze Ozil out, or do you want to play him? And this is just Ozil is an example, but the same could be said for Mustafi as well, or for other players. that we have in the machinery. They always tend to do a U-turn. They aren't consistent in their message, and that is a problem, and that is what leads to fans becoming unsure and taking sides. If they were sure and they took a stand, I'm sure that the fans would be behind them. And with Lacazette, it's not a problem with what he's done, because I mean I don't know if it affects the his playing quality or his fitness or stamina or any of that. I don't think it does. So it's okay, but overall it's not a good look. And would you think that there are other players also doing such things? Yes, I'm sure they are, but they're good at not having it come to the fore. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
best that Lacazette can do is, when people are around him, make sure that they don't take videos and pictures of him.
Yeah. Yeah. And here.
I just see it as something of, there's a sense of you're supposed to have a sense of responsibility, especially as a senior member of the squad, one of the more experienced players. And I mean, even like if you take an example such as the workplace, if a young guy, one of the newbies, he sees his managers mucking about and swearing at his employees, and he's going to think one day, I'm also going to be able to do that. And then he's just going to also start doing that very soon, within a few months, getting himself into trouble, getting his team into trouble, eventually getting a whole lot of people fired for being irresponsible, and for being unprofessional. Now, at the same time, I think somebody is leaking this from Laka, but like, you're supposed to be professional. What kind of example does this set on the youngsters who, like I say, in that kind of incident, are looking up to these players and thinking, hey, what
Exactly.
are doing the
Yeah.
why can't I? And then they're also gonna do that, and they're gonna end themselves either getting dismissed from the club or getting into some serious trouble with fines. One other thing I do want to say is shout out to Usman. Assalamu alaikum, my brother. Are you celebrating Eid today? Or are you celebrating Eid tomorrow?
We're celebrating it today.
Oh, shukr, man. That's good. That's good. I hope you had a lovely Eid, bro.
Yeah, we had a good day. Thank you very much.
Shukr. That's good, man.
And now you're chilling with some Arsenal talk, right?
Yeah.
We're very happy to have him on. It's been quite a long time since we've had
Yeah,
Usman on.
Usman, you were on an episode before a year ago or more, and I was trying to find the episode. I couldn't even find it. I can't remember what it was.
I have the video saved on my playlist on my channel. So if you go to my channel and find the section where I have
Yeah.
a playlist called videos I'm in, you will find the video there. It was when we were doing the preview for the Arsenal Man United game back last year.
Yeah, at home, where we
Yeah,
won that
It was
game
at
at
home.
home.
Yeah, we won that game 2-0.
The Xhaka, the great Xhaka game.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh yes, that wonder goal. That wonder goal.
That 40-yard strike that beat De Gea,
Yeah.
and then
But
followed
Chaka
up.
has a tendency of scoring against United, right? He's done that before also, when it looped off the back of Herrera and it went in. He's done that before also, the long ranger against United.
Yeah, that was back in 2017. Yeah, I remember that goal.
Nice
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Okay, let's get into some transfer movement. Okay, so a lot of things are going on out there. Atletico Madrid are eyeing a move for a Napoli midfielder. Hopefully, that could clear the way for Thomas Partey to come to the club. Usman? I'm going to ask you, what's your confidence level in Thomas Partey coming to Arsenal?
50-50 at the moment. It's 50-50 at the moment because Atletico Madrid are a club that wouldn't want to sell their players for any reason. Like, look at the whole Antoine Griezmann situation. It looked like he was about to leave, but then he stayed, signed a new 5-year deal with Atletico Madrid. But a year into that, he left for Barcelona. Now, for Thomas Partey to leave, I think they would need to get a player who's like for like for him. So if they're signing the player from Napoli, I think they're either signing Fabian Luiz or the Brazilian Allen. I think it's one of those two
Allen.
players that might be looking.
Allen is the
Oh,
one we're
Allen.
talking about. Yep.
Oh, Allen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if they can get that deal done, then I think Party would go.
And I think he's very, very committed mentally to coming to Arsenal. I think that he has, behind the scenes, I think he has been sold on the project, I believe.
Yeah,
Rohan?
from reading through this, it looked like he's interested in coming.
Hmm.
Now, people would say, "Oh, why come to a club that's only ninth in the table, they're playing Europa League football, where you're playing with Atletico Madrid, you're one of their starters, you're playing in the Champions League." I was just thinking, if as long as the player really wants to join the team and has interest in going there, then I think he'll go. Now, if him coming in was going to cause Herrera leaving, then I wouldn't want I wouldn't want Herrera to leave because Herrera, we all know how good of a player he can be. We have seen his performance in the World
Yeah.
Cup. He's even stopped Ronaldo. He's intercepted
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo from getting the ball.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he can do this. I think under Unai Emery, he was just not playing in the position he wanted to. Now with Arteta in, if Arteta really understands the kind of player Torreira is and plays him in position and keeps him, a Party Torreira partnership in that midfield would seem interesting.
And Stan is asking if Partey wants to come, why don't we just activate his buyout clause? I think that's going to happen, but Atletico may want assurances in terms of buying a replacement, which is this player from Napoli. So Tony meet Usman, Usman meet Tony. You're right beside each other there.
Hey Tony.
The other thing is that Rowan Arsenal are unlikely to be throwing around the cash. They're going to be looking at swap deals, contract extensions, player salaries, things like that.
That's the indication that has been given, right? That
Yeah,
we are a Europa League side in a Champions League budget. So,
Champions
you know,
League
they
wages.
have to,
Yeah,
yeah. So we have to sort that out. And like I've said before, this could be a time for good bargains. So there is no point in jumping into a situation now. Atletico Madrid aren't the richest club in the world. They do get good money for their players, but who knows what the market is going to be. So, you know, is it possible
and
that we might get him for maybe 5 million less than his buyout clause? That is possible. So, I
yeah,
wouldn't want
and
to be
also
hasty going in.
as Usman said, let's not underestimate Torreira. I think a lot of people underestimate Torreira and the job that he actually does. It goes
Yeah.
unnoticed in the team a lot of the time. But the other thing, Rohan, is Partey would like to come to the Premier League because that would raise his profile back home in Ghana as well.
Sure, and Atletico aren't doing that well themselves. They aren't challenging for
Yeah,
the title right now. Currently, they are also sixth, although that's just like 2 points behind third. But you know, it's not like he's winning titles there. So
yeah,
as long as there is a project which there seems to be with Arteta there, and we show him that there is scope for development, then he might want to come. And
and
Torreira, like we've said, we'd like to keep Torreira as well because there are situations where we'll need two defensive
yeah,
midfielders, and
yep.
Torreira has that. And in fact, I saw a picture of him yesterday, and he seems to have like bulked up during this time,
Yeah,
right? Like so,
yeah, yeah.
so
He
maybe
clearly,
he's preparing for the challenge that is the Premier League, right?
yeah. Being told he's too lightweight, he's been bulking up. Tony, um, Arsenal may be looking at a third option as a left back. This Kurzawa connection keeps raising its head. Not a player that I'm really interested in, but we keep on being linked with left backs.
Yeah, then we're waiting for the left back at Ajax too. Another
Yeah,
one of the
Taglia something, right?
Tagliafico.
Yeah, and the other thing is that the club is recognizing that Bukayo Saka is a winger, and they're trying to not play him as a left back. I actually have a hunch that he's a better left back than a winger. What do you think about that, Tony?
I'd like to see us go with a back three and using him as a left wing back. I think that's more his position than
Yeah.
straight left back
Um,
or a winger.
Usman, wanted to get your views on Bukayo Saka. What do you think of this player?
But Bukayo Saka, I like Saka, and I really have a thing against him playing at left back because okay, understandable that there were no players like Kolasinac and Tierney were injured, but I was thinking why couldn't we just now? Okay, we did go into the academy and get someone there, but we picked a winger to play left back. I would have preferred like a Zach Medley. I know he's a center back, but one of the positions he can play is left back. So like I wanted him to play there as a left back rather than Saka. But as I look at Alfonso Davies at Bayern Munich, now he's a left midfielder and he's been put into play left back, and he's been putting in the shift, and Saka's been putting in the shift at left back. So really, yeah, I would have him as a left winger, but at the same time have him as a backup left back, as long as he can perform there, of course.
Right. Yeah. Rowan, we've talked about this at length as well. What do you think about the situation?
So I think Tony has made a fair point, right? Like that if we were to play three center backs, then like a back three, then the reason why I like that idea is because then we can play a 3-5-2 and two strikers up top, and Aubameyang and Lacazette could both play up top. Of course, there's many things to be changed from this squad. You don't know whether Lacazette is going to be here or not, Aubameyang going to be here or not. But just going by the current squad, it would be a great idea because we're shoehorning both of them into the team when we're putting Abba out left, but that might have been a good option, right? And then Saka could play the wing back role. But if we're going with a flat back four, then I would generally prefer him to play, to play as left winger because his attributes have been more attacking than defensive. He's not been a great defender, or
Yeah.
he's not been great at like tracking back, etc. In fact, Shaka has got the praise because he's filling in that position. But his all his plaudits have been because he's done things in the final third, right? So why not exploit that?
Yeah. And double figures for the season, and it's not even been a full season for Saka. Great talent. Hopefully, we can keep him at the club and for years and years to come. The other thing, Tony, the other thing, Mahir, I'll go to you, Mahir, next. Maitland Niles has fallen out of favor. So I think the curtain is calling for him. He's probably going to get sold. And Cedric will fill in the right back situation.
Yeah, I mean, look at it this way. We did enjoy a brief spell of Ainsley Maitland-Niles for a while, and he was looking to be the best out of the right backs. I mean, I wouldn't like. I mean, I don't prefer Bellerin there. We were preferring Ainsley Maitland. He was having a good run of form, and then when Bellerin came back, I mean, we haven't seen him since. And Arteta is
Mhm.
now preferring to trying to get a younger squad with just a few old heads or a few veterans in the squad. And do I think he's legal? Do I think he's going to get sold? Most probably. Do I think Guendouzi might get sold? I hope not, because as much criticism as we do have of Guendouzi, He is a young boy, a young boy that still needs to apply his trade. And if he gets the qualities of him that makes mistakes out of his game,
Yeah,
I think he become a
if he can
top
work
quality.
those out of his game. Yeah, getting caught on the ball as well.
Being
Just by just by happenstance, Tony, the next thing I have on the list is Granit Xhaka. See,
My
Granit
favorite player.
Xhaka, and then we'll get to Usman because Usman's new around here. We haven't seen him for a few months. That we're going to get his input on all of these players. Granit Xhaka, Tony, he seems to have committed his long-term future to the club, and he and Arteta, they see a vision for him as a number 6 in midfield.
Where's Hertha with that 40 million?
Yeah, we were talking to a Hertha fan yesterday on Twitter, Usman, and they were quite happy in the possibility of acquiring Granit Xhaka in January. They would have seen it as an upgrade in their team for Hertha Berlin. What's your feeling about Granit Xhaka? And obviously, he's had a very, very, let's say, busy season with Arsenal.
By all means, Hertha Berlin can take him for free if they want to. Because seeing Granny Xhaka play on that pitch, I'd rather watch all the movies of Saw on repeat.
So I'm thinking you're not really a fan of the player.
when Xhaka came in, we were thinking, oh, is he this possible midfielder that can not only hold his own in the midfield but also give those passes when we need to. He's been a liability in my honest opinion. He's been a liability. But in his defense, apart from the bias and Torreira, he's probably the best of the worst that we have. Except the youngsters, of course. And if Hertha Berlin want Granit Xhaka, by all means they can take him.
Yeah.
And I remember earlier this
And
year, like Newcastle wanted him. So I'm saying, hey, Newcastle, if you still want him, you can take him.
Usman, we would still do 40 million minus £1, right?
Hey, trust me, even if it's $1 million they wanted for Xhaka, I would have no second thoughts.
Steven said, people say sell Torreira, he gets nicked off the ballot easy. No spends as much time on the floor than Guendouzi. I'd sell Guendouzi before Torreira. I think Torreira is a better player. Definitely, Rowan. Torreira is a player, and looking at Thomas Partey, he's probably looking at our midfield and saying, "I could make Arsenal's midfield much better."
Easy.
Torreira is the only specialist defensive midfielder that we have, right? Like he
Yeah.
is the only guy who knows how to play that position. Guendouzi, the issue is that we don't really know what his position is because he's not a defensive midfielder. He's not an attacking midfielder. He doesn't. I have not seen evidence of a consistent passing range that would qualify him to be, that quarterback position in the team. He's not shown that. The only thing that he's shown is that he has some drive and he has the will to stand up for his teammates and to get into a fight. But that also, when you have talent, then that becomes better, right? Like he for some reason has the Jack Wilshere attitude, but doesn't have the Jack Wilshere capability or ability.
On the ball.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm being too harsh, but like
No, I think
Jack Wilshere used to excite me much more than
Yeah,
what
well,
Lucy does.
used to be they'd say you need a ball carrier, a destroyer, and a passer in the field, and they would all complement each other. So Jack Wilshere was more of a ball carrier. He would break the lines with his piercing runs. Torreira is more of a passer in midfield, but definitely defensively midfielded minded. Torreira is very underappreciated, I believe.
Exactly.
Mahir, so we're talking a lot about midfield. We're not really talking about our forwards. I don't think we have any problem with our forwards so much. We're talking midfield. We're talking left back, right back, and now, Mahir, we come to centre back. William Saliba will return after his loan to Saint Etienne, with him likely to be starting part of the starting 11 next season, possibly anchoring Arsenal's defenders for years to come. Are we putting a lot of pressure on Saliba, or is he the real deal?
From what we've seen, he looks like the real deal.
Yeah,
But at the same time, let's not overhype it and put too much pressure. Let's just let him just do his thing. Let him just come in and do his thing to the best
yeah,
of his abilities. Because you know what actually shows? You can see a player that plays with his heart on the field. It actually shows without him having to hype himself up, without us having to hype him up. He'll just come and do his thing, and we'll see whether or not he's the one,
yeah.
because other options, if we're talking transfers, would be somebody like maybe Jonathan Tah from Bayer Leverkusen. I don't know if we have discussed that before, and yeah, otherwise him and maybe somebody like David Luiz. So one experienced and one young prospect with a lot of potential to start us for next season.
Yeah, Tony, I'm loving the rotation of all of these inputs because you all have specialist areas, and here's my specialist area is Pablo Marie. Possibility that the club could make him a permanent signing now. Um, I'm very much in favor of that, and the 10 million that we will have to pay for him to be a permanent signing, in hindsight, might look to be good business with the situation that the world is involved in right now, Tony.
Yeah, I think we'll probably sign him, but I'd still like to get another player like Indica. They both have the same
Yeah.
foot, and Indica can play on the left back too, as well as center back.
The Sembolist said the evening panel, Torreira is the best he can be, and sorry he isn't good enough. And that's we're going to get into unpopular opinions, and I said to Mahir as well. For we're all Arsenal fans, we all love the team, but we're all going to have 50-50 splits on things whether we like players or not. I happen to think that Torreira will be complemented by Partey, personally speaking, but we will see. What happens. Stephen has said we don't have any players that make partnerships in our midfield. It's a mismatch of players, and I think that's where most of the work is needed. Um, Stan Arteta should be able to improve players. Torreira is still only 22, so it can still get better with good coaching. So
Wow.
yeah, there's lots of great opinion, and that's what is great about podcasts. We get everybody together. We're all fans. We're all talking it out like mates in the pub here. Santi wasn't a big player, and he is quality. That's a good point. We can buy diamonds in the rough. Same goes for Pepe. Arteta should be able to improve him like he did with Sané and Sterling at City. And come to you next, Usman. So just digest all of this stuff. Usman? What do you think about Saliba?
Saliba, he looks like he has the potential. I believe he can become a good player. It's just that once he comes to the Premier League, he's not gonna hit it off the bat like Kylian Mbappe did once he joined PSG or when he came from the academy. Not every player can just come in and hit the bat like Mbappe and Holland did.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
remember when Jadon
And
Sancho
it's
went to Borussia Dortmund, he didn't just get off the bat and start doing what he was doing. He had to take a year first to try and understand the playing system in Germany. And then next thing you know, he would slowly get into the starting 11 and become the player that he is today. So Saliba, he can do it, but I think he needs to be under someone. He needs to be under someone's wing just to understand the game, because if we throw him in on his own, he could collapse. Like he wouldn't be
Yeah,
the player that we all thought
Usman,
he could be.
who would you be happy partnering Saliba with? Name of two players.
With the players that we have, or like players we could try and
Yeah,
bring in.
the players that we have, because I really don't believe we're getting defenders in the window.
David Luiz.
David Luiz, number one. Would you pair him with Pablo Marie?
David Luiz, Pablo Mari. It sounds it sounds interesting because at least with David Luiz, he's played in the Premier League for many years. He knows what the Premier League is like. So
Yeah.
put anyone beside him, and they could form a decent partnership before they get someone else in.
Yeah, Rohan, the assembly said, forget improving players, sell this load of mishaps, and buy the right players, and they will naturally improve. Stan saying one of Arteta's main remits should be to improve players. If you can't do that, then we've got the wrong guy, and that's a good viewpoint from Stan. I think it's thinking like this that has set Arsenal back 5 years. I think we can do a mix of each, right, Rohan? Without being, I've been known as a diplomat, so we can do a little bit of each. We can buy proven players, and we can also improve our existing players.
Yeah, one thing I take pride on, and I've mentioned this before, except for Nabri, there isn't any other player that I can think of who has left Arsenal and become better as a player, right? Like I don't know if anybody can remember any other player in
Well,
terms of winning trophies.
it
Yes,
still
players
hurts.
have gone
It
and won
still hurts
trophies.
when Van Persie went to United. That still hurts
No,
for
of
that
course,
for that one season.
but exactly. So I'm not saying as a team, as a team, even like Gail Clichy has done better, or other players have done better. But as the player themselves, have they improved or have they not? And I think Van Persie was pretty much at the same level as what he was at
Sure.
Arsenal. It was
Yeah.
just that he was in a better team. In
Yep.
fact, statistic wise, he got lesser goals than what he did when he was playing for Arsenal, right? But his goals were worth much more when he was playing for United because they were in a league race.
Yeah.
So and I take pride in the fact that Arsenal makes players better. And I think the raw materials are there for some of them. There are some of them who are uncoachable. Our Colonel Mustard, I think, I think he's
He
generally
is what
okay.
he is.
He
Yeah.
will, you will probably get 85 good minutes from him, but he has that one or two mistakes in him each game, which will screw you over, right? Like, and what you want with defenders is that they need to have flawless games, like the same with goalkeepers. So, that is the issue. But then I believe that Pepe is in my opinion, he's a good prospect. And, we should try to make the best out of him.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
that Torreira, he excited me when he had come to Arsenal, and then he started getting played in the wrong position, and the English
I.
season also takes a toll on you.
Yep.
So, he's another one that I would want to see getting improved. Saka is someone I would like to see improved if he has to stay in that left back role, or even, I mean, all of these guys need to learn their talents, but there are some guys that have those mistakes in him and or don't have the skills that need to be moved out.
The last part of the transfer segment, I'm going to mention Mkhitaryan and Mino Raiola, the super agent who's working on that deal. Um, Possibly Justin Clivert could come the other direction. We talked about this a little bit last week, so I want to give the new face here, Usman, first go at this. What do you think about Justin Clivert coming to Arsenal in place of Mkhitaryan?
Sounds like a good swap. It's just the thing is, do we really need Justin Clifford in the squad? Now, for me, I don't really think that we need Justin Clifford. just because we have other players who can play in the same position in just like him, like Martinelli, Saka. Now, granted, he can play on the left and he can play on the right. But if we signed him, I would just think he would be someone that would be playing on the right hand side and be giving Pepe some competition for that position. So I don't know if we
Mhm.
should give that one a green light. I'm
Yeah,
really not sure. But at the
yeah.
same time, we can
Is
get
it
wages
worrying,
off the book.
Usman? Is it worrying to you that we are relying now on super agents for our business? We're not actually
I
scouting. We're sort of plugging holes with players.
I don't think so because before when Arthur Wenger was manager, deal with the he wouldn't deal with these sort of agents. And over
Yeah,
the years, we
yeah.
realized in order to get these players,
You need them.
sometimes we would need to like
Yeah,
negotiate with these kind of agents just
yeah,
to get them.
yeah.
Now,
Exactly.
I don't think so.
And the assembler said this is probably one of the best comments of the. There's been a lot of great comments. Arsenal's central midfield is the problem with the whole team. I think it can be done with a couple of signings, though. That we can make things work with a couple of signings.
It's
And
that
Stan, I already think Saka and Martinelli are pretty decent. Have improved a lot. Willock and Nelson do need to improve as well. We are putting a lot of faith in the younger players. And I think this season will have been invaluable for them. Yeah, our midfield just doesn't function. Don't know why we're putting so much faith in players like Granit Xhaka. The great immovable. All right, let's get to the next section. Who wants to start with an unpopular opinion? And if
So
anybody
just
in,
before we go there,
yep,
just before we go there, like
the
some of the good
timekeeper
points,
is going to give me grief. Go
I know
ahead,
that, so
Rohan.
I promise not to take more than like 30 seconds on it. But some of these points that I was thinking as well, and great points made by Stan in the comments. Would you take Kurzawa if you could sell Kolasinac for some money, and he came at maybe the same wages because
Yes, yes, I would do that.
Kolasinac is not.
Yes.
So that's one. Yesterday, I read an absurd article in which Barcelona was willing to sell Ousmane Dembele for 35 million.
Yes.
Would you take up that option and sell Nelson in that case, or would you keep him and
You
like
wouldn't get 35 million for Nelson.
no,
Would
of
you
course you
swap
wouldn't,
him?
but you'll have to top it up.
Would you swap him for Aubameyang, Rohan?
No.
Ousmane Dembele for Aubameyang?
Yes.
Ah, okay, no, I
Nah.
wouldn't do that.
I'm just picking on Rohan because he's rightly
I
so.
know.
Aubameyang is one of his favorite players. So, but no, yeah, I mean, I would love to get Dembele. Yes,
Just as a
but
side note, guys,
it would take
there
more
are
than Nelson.
there are much
Go
better
ahead.
players in Roma that I would rather get than Kluivert, such as Lorenzo Pellegrini, Sengi's Under. There's another one actually. There's like at least three players that would improve our squad vastly rather than a Kai Havertz.
Yeah,
Kai Havertz, sorry, Kluivert, and also that if it's just to get Mkhitaryan's wages off the book, I would probably do it, but I would rather just let
yeah. I mean,
Mkhitaryan
I think
carry on.
I think you're hitting the same vein as Rohan. You're looking at swaps to basically lower the wage bill, right, Rohan? Is that what you were thinking with Kolasinac as well? You know,
Yeah,
our wages
and
is a problem.
Didi get a
Indeed.
profit, in fact, because we
Yeah,
got Kolasinac for free. He's still on a deal. We could sell him,
yeah,
and Kurzawa comes for free. So you've just made money. I,
yes,
I don't know
yeah,
in terms of talent whether that's an upgrade, but in terms
yeah,
of like just balancing the sheets, right? So you get some money off of him. You sell Socrates, you get some money off of there. You get some money off of Nelson. and then maybe and you top it up with some more, and
Yeah,
you could get a Dembele, and then we
yeah,
keep Aubameyang as well.
yeah. I would. That would be nice, right? All right.
That would
Are
be
we?
good.
We move to this section now. We're good.
Yes, please.
Usman, are you having a good
Yes,
time?
please.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Usman,
enjoying it.
you enjoying the podcast so far, Usman?
Yeah, I am enjoying it. Thanks.
Cool, cool, cool. Do you? Well, I start with the unpopular opinion. I'll start.
Okay.
Sure.
I'll start with the unpopular opinion. I actually did a poll on Twitter, so some of you might have seen this already. My popular opinion is: would you actually sell Hector Bellerin, and or do you think that he can come back stronger, or are you undecided? The poll came 58% keep Bellerin, 26 let him go, and 16% were undecided. I'm in the camp of possibly we've seen the best of Hector Bellerin, and we could let him go and get an upgrade at right back. Who wants to debate the other side or agree or disagree?
I I could say that every time I think of Bellerin, I think of the time that he broke into the squad, and that we were desperate to not sell him to Barcelona, and then he had the dip in form, and then there was a resurgence. So I feel that with what's happened, he's had an ACL, which is a major injury. He was never going to be back to his best now.
Yep.
But I think that we could give him one more season, have a competition there as well, so that he has to keep his game up, and then decide next summer whether we sell him or keep him. Because right now, I think there are more important positions in the team that need to be filled, and I still have some faith left in Bellerin.
And I saw Tony shaking his head when you said keep Bellerin. Tony?
You have Mune available for free, and you can probably get Aaron's for around 20 million. I'd go ahead and get both of them.
You think, Tony, do you think we're going to see Bellerin come back to his best?
I don't think he's ever that great of a defender. He's more in the attacking role. If
He
we went
was,
to a back
yeah,
three,
maybe that's a good point to debate, Rohan. Maybe not great defensively, but very good going forward.
Sure, but that's the modern position, right? Like you
Mhm.
don't have guys now who are super astute defenders, but rather who contribute in attack and who have that ability to, make up a yard of pace and come back and be stable. That is what is
But
required.
if that was the case, then
I
he would be as good as Trent, but without the passing.
Sure, because Trent is exceptional. I mean, his passing range is that of Kevin De Bruyne, but then we're going to say that no other midfielder should be bought because no other midfielder is as good as Kevin De Bruyne. Like, so he's sort of set the benchmark too high. But apart from that, I would still think that there are other players. See, Aaron Bissaka, right? He is
Yeah.
a great defender. One on one, he's great, but he's shit going forward. He
Oh,
does
yeah,
not
exactly,
contribute to
exactly.
United going forward. So,
Because,
is that okay with the panel?
yeah,
There's no
and
contribution going
and
forward. His
anyway,
crossing is like 1 in 10, I
and
think.
I'll come to you, Matt, here. But can we mention that Trent Alexander is probably able to focus on attacking because he has Van Dijk behind him, who's going to cover up for any issues that he has at the back. So Trent Alexander has that license, and when you're in a winning team, you have that license to go forward a little bit more.
And there were times in big games that Klopp would actually put Gomez in right back and drop Alexander Arnold because he wasn't that great defensively. Of course, I'm not saying that
Yeah.
Bellerin is as good going forward. He's not. But I just feel that he could be given a chance. if I were to improve, I would improve on Shaka first,
Yeah.
then
And,
maybe see the centre back
and
situation and then focus on right back.
oh, and do you think Saka doesn't get enough props because of what uh, he's doing? Similar things to Trent, what Trent's doing in terms of assists.
But he's
No,
not
no,
done it over 2, 3 seasons at the highest stage, right?
yeah. Um, Osman, any more comments about Bellerin? Um,
I would give Bellerin one more season just because he had the ACL injury for like a
yeah,
long time.
and I know
And when he
Tanner.
came back, he wasn't like 100%. So
Yeah,
I'll give him one more season. And
yeah,
if he doesn't cut it in that season, then I would let him go.
yeah.
But
Seems like we
I
do that
wouldn't.
for every Arsenal player. We give them one last season. You know.
Yeah, but the thing is, this this is not like the player had like a dip in form or anything. This is like a very serious injury. Now,
Yeah.
no one wants to get their ACL injured.
No.
And and I would say give him one more season unless we get an offer that is too good to refuse. So I'm saying like at least 30 million for Bellerin. If anyone can give me at least 30 million, I'll say let him go.
Yeah, absolutely. Every player has their market value, and I think that's not bad for Bellerin. 30 million. Mahir, you had a point a few minutes ago.
Okay, I'm gonna cut it real nice and short and sweet. So on this side of the spectrum, you've got Bellerin. Bellerin, unfortunately, is nothing without his pace. But what I love, what Usman and even Rohan mentioned was, let's give him another season. I love that opinion. I do. But personally, I think we can do much better. I personally think, like Tony said, like I agree with Tony when he says we can possibly buy two right backs for that position that would vastly improve. Max Aarons, there's a whole lot of other names.
Yes.
On the opposite side of the spectrum, you've got Mr. Kolasinac himself, who knows
Bodyguard.
how to, yeah, bodyguard, the bodyguard, who knows how to attack in little bits, but does not know how to cross. His decision in the final third is very poor. And when it comes to defending, he doesn't know how to defend. Yet he was placed a few years ago in a Bundesliga team of the month before, team of the year before he came to us. So yeah, both sides of the spectrum I don't think are good enough actually, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
All right. Let's move on to anyone else. Does anyone else have unpopular opinions they want to present?
Rowan, Tony?
Or we can debate what Stan said here. Stan gave one. Callum Chambers is a very underrated player who can fill in at 4 positions. Correct. And
Yeah,
could
agree with that.
give
Because
a goal or
he
two as
had
well.
come in as the right back, right? Like when he used to play at Southampton, he was the right back there. And then I was never quite convinced of him with his right back skills because he's not fast, and that's what you need to be in that position. So,
Yeah.
but this season he's done all right because he hasn't when he's played right back, we haven't had the attacking output, but he's been defensively strong. At centre back, can he make it to the highest level? I don't know because he hasn't had a consistent run in there. At Fulham, he was the player of the season playing defensive midfield. So, he is definitely a versatile player, and I would like to keep him because of his versatility.
Yeah.
But I am not sure what his best position is and whether he can really be a first teamer in that position, or is he a squad player who's going to be just, filling in the gaps, etc. So, I definitely want to keep him. He's underrated because he has multiple qualities, but I don't know where his right position or what his ceiling is.
Yeah, and he's able to chip in with some goals, which we have not seen from our other defenders, aside from the Ronaldo-esque strike from Socrates, that fourth goal, which was, whoa, what the hell was this player doing that up there for? You know what I mean? Yeah, nuts. Anyone else got unpopular opinions? Tony, Rowan, or am I here?
I just continue on with what Stan was saying. I think Chambers was probably our best right back of a season and one of the players of
And,
a season because every time he's given at least the
and voted player of the season for Fulham. Okay, it was Fulham, and they were in the lower echelons of the Premier League at the time, but to still be, um, consistent enough to be voted as part of the team is noteworthy, right? Here's another one from Glenn. So he's letting
Yeah.
everyone off the hook here. Uh, unpopular opinion: Sanchez is in the top 10 best Arsenal players of all time in the Premier League. Tony would never be able to play
No, not
poker.
really.
Tony, you'd never be able to play poker, Tony.
nope, no poker face.
You have no poker face. So take that. For you, Alexis Sanchez would not be in the top 10 best all-time Arsenal players, and we can think of three or four that would automatically fill the first five spots, right?
Yep.
So we're talking about from
We've
six.
done our Arsenal all-time Arsenal 11. We've done our all-time Arsenal
Yeah,
11, and we've seen, that there are other players who are better than him. He's definitely up there.
yeah.
He's What would be fair to say is that he's been one of the top players of the Emirates era. You know that he has
Absolutely. Yeah,
been, and that I
yeah.
think that's undisputed. But of all time, I'm not really sure. But he has a shout. Like he wouldn't be far
Maybe
away from the top 10. I would think.
Rowan, maybe he'll be in like top 20, maybe in like the 14th, 15th
But
position.
my here, you did this, didn't you? Mean he's fifth?
No, I was meaning how would I say? No, I was counting as in fives. I was I was deciding whether I'm gonna put him in the top 10 or
Yeah,
rather say top 20.
yeah.
So say top 20 players, top 20 Arsenal players in the Premier League
And
of all time.
Dan has said we sometimes forget about Mark Overmars, so he would
Of
take
course,
Mark Overmars over
he's right
Sanchez
there.
in a
Overmars
heartbeat.
is right there, top 5.
It's very tough to compare players from different eras, Usman.
Yeah, it is difficult because the playing style would have been completely different from how it is now.
Yeah,
But if you're talking about all time, you really need to consider what they contributed to the team. Now, has Sanchez been at Arsenal long enough to consider him one of the best players of all time? No. Has Mark Overmars? I have to check Wikipedia, but I could tell Mark Overmars is probably, yeah, Mark Overmars is one of the best players that Arsenal have had, considering he came from Ajax. I think he was part of the Champions League winning side that won it. I think
yeah,
alongside Kanu and other players.
yeah.
So nah, I can't have Sanchez over Overmars at all. I mean,
Over.
he's a living icon.
Who are you saying? You're saying Sanchez is over Mars, or you can't? No,
Can't
you're
I
saying over Mars is
I
better.
cannot I
Yeah,
cannot have Sanchez over Overmars.
yeah. And perhaps Usman, is it a little bit unfair what you're saying that you're comparing players because of the achievements that they did or did not do in the team? Because we had a very, very good midfielder in Fabregas who never achieved as much as he should have with Arsenal because the team around him was not as good.
Fabregas, Fabregas was good, but compared to other players that we've had, again with him, I can't have him over other players that play in the same position as him, like Patrick Vieira and Gilberto Silva, plus Emmanuel
Yeah.
Petit. Now, probably I wasn't born when they were playing, or I wasn't old enough, like I wasn't like sensible enough to know how good they were. I could only watch YouTube highlights,
Yeah.
and they've obviously like done more than Fabregas would have done.
Well, Fabregas was a hell of a player as well.
Of
And
course,
it's great that we have a panel like this. I mean, we have a panel here that spans the younger generation and the older generation. So it's great to get that blend as well. Like Glenn said, though, everything went through Alexis Sanchez in 2015, right through to 2017. If Perez wasn't there, he'd make it to the best 11 on the left. I can't
Exactly. That's the point, right? Like
I disagree.
that's why he's not in the
I
top
disagree.
10, because
because
he's
of
not in the
Perez.
top 11 team, and that is because there's Perez over him. But
Yeah.
if we were
I mean,
talking about
you remember,
anybody after
Rohan,
Perez and Lumberg,
do you
yeah,
remember the famous podcast on the best 11 where Tony tried to shuffle one of the players
exactly.
out of position to accommodate? Check that out.
Manager Tony.
What's wrong with Bobby on the right side?
What's wrong with who? Yeah, you were playing Bob. Would you play Robert Perez on the right hand side, Usman?
He can play there. I might play him on the right
Yeah.
because he is better than Freddie Ljungberg, and
Yeah.
you cannot disrespect Mark Overmars. So if I
No.
was to have Overmars on the left, Perez on the right, I'll take it any day of the week.
I've just thought of an unpopular opinion. Freddie Ljungberg would not have had the career that he had without Dennis Bergkamp. Is that unpopular or popular?
Unpopular.
Without Dennis Bergkamp, Freddie Ljungberg would not have excelled. But you could say that
It's
for a lot
difficult
of
to imagine that. Yeah, it's difficult to imagine that because because he's always played with him, right? But maybe this is an unpopular opinion that if Lumberg was playing in the 15, 16, 17 side, then he would have not done better than what Sanchez has done. Sanchez had more output.
he definitely had more output, especially when he was played centrally as well. That was one of his best seasons, Alexis Sanchez. Probably because Giroud being so crap the season before that they played Alexis Sanchez through the middle. You know. Anyone else got unpopular opinions before we go to the next section?
So
My
this is a thought that I had shared. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Rowan.
So this is one thing that I had shared, just as a thought sometime earlier, and you can let me know if you don't want to discuss this. But the fact that Thierry Henry never got a goal in any final that he played in for Arsenal, and he scored bucket load of goals, and he scored, he really contributed in us getting to those finals. But if you look at his semi-finals and final stats for all the things that he played in, including Champions League finals or semi-final or other crunch games, he didn't score. While Drogba, on the other hand, would not score as many goals as Henry, but would always turn up in the final. When you needed that one goal. So
This is, yeah.
maybe unpopular opinion that I would have Henry throughout the thing, but maybe
This is a
want
difficult
a
one for me.
Drogba in a final.
It's a difficult one for me, Rowan, because I remember in 2004 when Arsenal were running away with the league. We all knew every week they were going to win games and win the league. I had a Chelsea fan say, "We've got Didier Drogba." I don't know when he was signed, but it was around about that time. And Drogba could be our Thierry Henry, and I kind of dismissed that. Well, as the years went on, it became more and more clear that Drogba was very, very important to Chelsea, and he would always show up in those finals. And I know a lot about Arsenal, but you told me this a few weeks ago, Rohan, and I had to stop and think about this. Oh, you're right. Thierry Henry has never really scored in a final. He's played, you told me, in 9 finals, and he
Nine
hasn't,
finals. Yeah.
he hasn't scored a single goal in any of those. Now, he may have been instrumental in some goals happening, like Robert Perez in the FA Cup final, but you're right. That was astounding to me. And how do I process that? How do I debate that? How do I even think about that? If your mind is so tuned into thinking Thierry Henry was one of the best players
Exactly.
ever in the Premier League, and in some ways we think of our Arsenal players as being better than any other team, and to put him up against Drogba was unthinkable. And I still haven't properly processed that, but I'm going to go to Usman next for your. Well, I didn't give an answer. It's okay if you don't. If you can't give an answer as well, Usman, it's okay because I haven't been able to. How do you process Thierry Henry not scoring in finals, whereas Drogba did?
I think it depends on the result of the match. Where if Arsenal like won that final, no one would no one would care if he scored or not because Arsenal got
Yeah,
the result needed,
yeah,
and there were other play and I think it was okay because there were other players rather than him alone doing the whole work. So like if all other players are contributing, they're doing what they need to do, and they're the ones scoring. As long as they won, that would have been a problem. If Arsenal lost, on the other hand, that's when players start to pick on different players, like saying he didn't score, he didn't make that pass, he didn't contribute. It would have gone all over the place. And um, whether I agree or disagree, I actually don't know. I really
tough
don't
one.
know what to say about
It really is a tough one. But I'd still, having said all that, would you swap, Rohan? Would you swap, knowing all that you know now? Would you swap Drogba for Thierry Henry?
No, I wouldn't because his goals were instrumental in us getting to those finals. Uh, and he was the greater he's the greater of the two players. At one point he was the best player in the world. He was cheated out of the Ballon d'Or when Nedved won it. He should have won it, and he's made me an Arsenal fan, so I could never replace Thierry Henry with Didier Drogba. Drogba for me, he wasn't a joy to watch. He was a machine. He was a fighter. He was a bull in that, court where he'd like just steamroll through it and score those goals. And he's tormented Arsenal over the years. How many goals has he scored against Arsenal? He always used to turn up, right? And so I wouldn't replace him. But the the stats are there to be seen. Thierry Henry has not scored in 9 finals.
Yeah.
He's scored away to against Liverpool and Manchester United in all of his seasons. I think he scored away only once, and in semi-finals also. I don't know. I don't think he has a very good record of scoring. So the crunch games when you need that, right? Like if you win a game, then you don't think about who has scored or who's not. But when you don't win it, that is when you want your best player to score. We needed him to turn up in the Champions
Yeah.
League final.
Yeah. Tony, where do you stand on that? Didier Drogba would turn up in finals, and apparently the record speaks against Henry.
I'd rather have the consistency of his goals throughout the season than just in the finals.
Yeah, because the league is their bread and butter as well, and Rohan, it's more than a coincidence to say that he hasn't scored in 9 games. So that's really a stat that's astounding for a player of Henry's caliber.
Yeah, but again, like scoring away at United or Liverpool, just one in all these seasons and all the games that he's played against them.
And
That.
Warner said
Uh,
we've never been crowned invincible with Drogba. So yeah, I mean,
sure. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, definitely. Okay, Glenn, we are going to get set up in about 20 minutes for the quiz if we can engineer that. But and if Usman can stay with us for another 30, 35 minutes, we good?
Oh yeah.
All right, the next section is Arsene Wenger, 20 years, 22 years. Did we actually win enough honors in that time under Arsene Wenger? And it's a tough section for Rohan to get through. All right, Rohan.
No,
I just hope he's one of you.
if you want me to go, I have just read this, but if you want me to go, I can go first on this, and I can lay the case
Yeah,
for Arsene Wenger
let me lay
as
it out for you first, though. He's the longest serving
okay.
manager in the Premier League. You may have this stat already. 22 years, 9 months more than Alex Ferguson, and that record, I'm quite sure, will not be surpassed in the Premier League for forever, probably. What coach is going to get 22 years at a club? But Rohan, 3 Premier Leagues. I don't know if you're frozen or you're taking notes. You're
No,
there.
no, I'm taking notes. Yeah,
Three Premier Leagues, 7 FA Cups, and 6 Community Shields, and we all know about the Champions League final. And take it from there.
I'm sorry. Let me just
so,
interrupt for one moment. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to interrupt. Sorry.
mhm.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just want to ask a question. Didn't Sir Alex Ferguson start managing Manchester United in 1986?
1989.
1989. So if you did that altogether, up towards to 99, that would have been 10, 2009, 20 years. 10, 11, 12, 13. Would have been like 23, 24 years?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, he was there from 86. Yeah, he did 27 years, but he was not there in a I mean, a lot of his years were not there in the modern Premier League. So in terms of modern
We're
Premier
talking about the
League,
Premier League.
Arsene
Okay.
Wenger is the
Yeah, we're talking. So that stat
from
is actually coming from the
92.
northern, because you know
Okay,
football
fair
only
enough.
started in '92, right?
Yeah, Premier started in 92.
Yeah.
Only in the Premier League era. There was no football before then.
Oh, okay. All right, okay. Noted. Noted.
I'm joking.
Right. So if I can lay my case now,
Yeah,
right? Like,
make your
so
case, Rohan.
he's won three Premier League titles and 7 FA Cups, which has made us the outright holder for FA Cups with 13, and out of 13, he's won 7 of them, so more than half. We've won 13 league titles, out of which he's won 3, so which is almost a quarter of our Premier League titles. We've been to League Cup finals. I can remember 2 at least. The City
Two.
one,
Okay, two. Yeah.
which we had won, and then Birmingham, right? Like, I don't know if we were in any other League Cup finals, but at least these two I can remember right off the top of my head, right? So we were in these finals, we were in the Champions League final, and between 2006 to I mean, I can clearly remember at least 2 or 3 seasons where we were in the hunt for the Premier League till about, game week 32, 33, 34, right? So, given all of that, taking that into perspective and taking into perspective that we were moving stadiums. We were the first team to create a stadium from scratch, right? Not moving into a built stadium, but actually building our own stadium, which has been so important for and coming up now when, when you see that the Premier League is about money, and we wouldn't have money to spend because we know our owner, so we need to generate that match day revenue, right? So from all of this, and just from the finals, titles, uh, and how close we've been, if you spread it out across seasons, you would see that there's much more to it. It's just that we've had that spell in which, like, he's won his 3 Premier League titles in his first like 8 years, and then we have a long stretch where we didn't win, and we've had a 9-year drought, and so all of these have played in, and we haven't really succeeded in terms of, but when you put all of that and you divide that, that's almost like if you have 3 plus 7, that's 10 major honors. I'm not even talking about the Community Shield or the other finals.
Wow.
You still have a major cup every other season, which I think is good enough when you think about all of these other things that he brought.
Averaged out, yeah. Usman?
Yeah, in terms of did we win enough with Wenger being there 22 years? My answer to that is no, we haven't won enough. In fact, we during that time, I would say Man United probably won more than Arsene Wenger's been manager. Because if I'm looking at it, I'm going to look at the cups based on how close we were to winning them. So I would talk about the maybe the Premier League in 2004-05 season, the Champions League final, League Cup in 2007 and 2011, Premier League in 2007-08, and the Premier League in the 2015-16, the Europa Cup in 2000, the Europa League in 2019. Now, if you're taking all those into consideration,
Yeah.
just looking at how close we were to winning those trophies, if we won about half of them, I would have half of those we didn't win. I would have said, "Okay, he's won an okay. He's won. He would. I would say he won a good amount." But based on how close we were to winning them, I would have said, "Yeah, it's okay, but it should have been more."
Yeah, and we lost some of these finals, the UEFA Cup final in the year 2000, um, in heartbreaking circumstances, and we all know about Champions League as well. So, Tony, the circumstances. Can you make a case for circumstances going against us?
You can, but I still think we
Let's
under.
let's look at the let's look at the Champions League final. Something extraordinary happens. Jens Lehmann has to make a challenge when we all know in hindsight probably we let that player go through and score the goal and let Barcelona be 1-0 up. And we played better 10 against 11. So what makes us think that we couldn't have beaten them 11 versus 11 even after going a goal down after 11 minutes? Other circumstances, um, Martin Keown misses that open goal in the UEFA Cup. I think it was a semi-final. We didn't get to. Um, other things.
Eto was offside for the first goal in the Champions League
Eto
final,
was offside.
if
I
we
think it was,
remember that.
and we've touched on Didier Drogba, and I still have PTSD from Sendros and Giroud getting bullied by Didier Drogba in those finals. I saw Tony nodding his head when we were beaten in 2007, 2008. As Usman said, the mentality of the team crumbled after Eduardo's unfortunate injury. And we came up against a 5,001 shot in Leicester City, who you have to give them so much credit for the nerve and the calm that they had and the mentality that they had, but they were not beaten on Valentine's Day when we beat them on the field. So Tony, can I make a case for all of those things, or are you still going to be harsh on me?
I still think we underachieved his first 10 years and overachieved his last 10. I think
Rowan, if you were to pick one of those titles that we did not win, let's not talk about the Champions League because we all know we were very unlucky there.
I
Any
think
other of those situations, could we have won with just 5% more?
We lost the FA Cup to Liverpool, in which Owen scored late twice, in which we dominated the game throughout the game, and
Yeah,
we didn't win it because Owen scored twice in that game.
yeah,
Again, another one in which we battered them. And if you've seen the Thierry Henry, uh, the documentary that he did on Arsenal.com, and he said that he doesn't feel bad in saying that we should have won that game. Like, we should have scored 10 goals or 11 goals, but we didn't. And then they won there. So that was one that we could win. We lost against Galatasaray in the penalties.
yeah.
So that's a bit of luck there, right? When it comes to the that final. Birmingham, we should have definitely won that one. So there's a few of them, but I would think overall Arsene Wenger's won more finals than he's lost. Just taking
Oh,
like 7 FA Cups and 6 Community Shields into account, that's 13 one-off game wins
yeah.
than he's
People,
lost. I'm
I
pretty
know
sure.
that the community shields were prestigious and we all want to win them, but basically people are going to discount the community shield. Um,
I'm not
like,
counting that as a trophy, but what I'm saying is that it's a one-off game, and if you have to win a one-off game, how many times has he won that versus how many times has he lost that?
yeah, I think you're right in that instance. Yeah. Um, so yeah, that's Glenn. Great timing. I was just about to call for you. Um, I think I think personally speaking, we're just going to round out this with a yes or no, and I think we should have won more honors in those 22 years. That's not to denigrate everything Arsene Wenger has done. He's revolutionized the club, um, using the players that were there already. When he was heavily criticized for, he extended the career of that famous back five. Dennis Bergkamp was already there, but the season before, and but the problem was in moving the stadium, we were promised lots of things, and that's a whole other podcast in of itself. Usman, do you think we should have won more? I think you said yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, Tony
yes.
and Rowan with an asterisk, you can say yes.
Yes, but that does not discount the fact that it was still a great period for us, the football
And
club.
let's not forget, we did have right in the middle of the 22 years, we had Chelsea coming along. We had Manchester City later, which definitely things made things a lot more difficult for us. Glenn, you want to chime in before we do get down to business?
Yeah, hi Ray, hi Ron, hi Tony, and hi Usman. Nice to meet you.
Hey,
Um,
Hey,
I would say definitely should have won more, especially between 2000 and 2010 before Man City came, because at that time we were only competing with Chelsea and Manchester United, and especially that 2007 2008 season, we only lost 3 games. That was to Man U away, Chelsea away, and Middlesbrough away, and we totally bottled it the last 5 games, I think. And one of those games against Man U away, we were leading in that game, and Chelsea away, we were leading in that game. So if you actually won one of those games, we'd have won the title. So I never understood why all those seasons we would play well like for like 30 games and then lose direction like in the final 8 games. I don't know if it was mentality. I don't know if it was the way that he was coaching the team or the players that we had. Not really like the players like
Operating
Andre back in the
mentality.
days and all. Yeah, plus later on, we used to start seasons poorly and then win like the last 10 games and qualify for the Champions League. So I
Yeah,
definitely think we should have won more. And just to add to what Ron had said about the League Cup and the Carling Cup finals, there was also another one in 2007 against Chelsea that we should have won, definitely. Again, we led in that game. So at least we should have won like 5 titles, Premier League, and maybe one League Cup and maybe at least gotten to more than one Champions League final.
So you're arguing for 2 more Premier Leagues, 1 more Carling Cup or League Cup or whatever they were calling it at the time.
Yeah, and at least one more Champions League final, because that one, since 2000, only 2, I think. So that wasn't enough. Just one Champions League final, I think.
If Pep had those teams or the Invincibles, how good would he have done with them? Would have won a lot more for sure. It's different times. It's always difficult to talk about that. Different times. Glenn, can we do the quiz with the people we have here?
Yeah, absolutely.
My here dropped out. He did the Roadrunner.
Beep, beep.
I think he did the right thing, because mine are hard.
Oh yeah, okay. And Steve Denman said, "What I would like to look into this for you, Steve, and I'll let you know in the comments what Lundberg's record is like. He did well in semis and finals for us. Freddie Lundberg scored some goals for us. Okay, Glenn, we're ready. Do we need pen and paper?
Nope, just like last week.
Oh God.
Let me just take off this a bit and explain the rules just a bit. You can hear me, right?
Yep.
So since Usman wasn't here last week, we are playing a game called What Do You Know? So, like for example, if I ask Arsenal players and you're going up against Rohan, if you say like if you start with our goalkeeper Leno and he says Aubameyang, and then you say Lacazette, and then he says Pepe, like that back and forth until the first one get the wrong answer, or to take the most time to answer. So last week, when Ray was hosting, after you answer a question wrongly, you'd lose the round. But in this game today, I'm giving you two opportunities to answer. So I hope I'm clear. Hopefully, if Ray and Ron are playing against each other, and he says Leno, and you say and Rohan says Chesney, I'm gonna give him another chance. So we'll go back to Ray, and then the first one to answer wrongly twice loses that round.
Okay, so you're allowed to get 1 wrong.
So the semi-final 1 is gonna have 3 rounds. Semi-final 2 is gonna have 3 rounds, and the final is gonna have 3 rounds.
We're going over 2 hours, Tony.
No, that would be like 20 minutes. You have 15 seconds to think about your answer.
All right.
Yeah, so Usman, choose a number between 1 and 4.
2.
2. Rohan, between 1 and 4.
1.
That was easy. Tony, 1 and 4.
3.
I'll take 4.
3. Yeah. So the first semi-final is Usman against Rohan, and the second one is Tony against Ray. So last week, Ray, you are doing it like you're playing the first semi-final and then the second semi-final. But in this case, I'm gonna be asking the first semi-final, the first round, and then second semi-final, first round, so that everyone contributes and doesn't just sit out for like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Usman, you get the game?
I'm doing. I would like to rest for 20 minutes. Go ahead. I'm going to shut up.
Okay. So the first semi-final is Usman against Rohan. Or we could start with the other one. Let's start with Tony and Ray so that Usman can get the game clearly.
Okay.
Tony, the first question, and Ray, is there were 32 countries in the 2018 World Cup. I want you guys to name them.
32 counties. Okay. 32.
Yeah, Tony, you're starting. 15 seconds to think about your answer. Go.
Brazil.
Germany.
Brazil.
Uruguay.
Germany. Correct.
England.
England.
Spain.
Spain.
Italy.
France.
That is wrong. That is wrong. Italy was not in the World Cup 2018. Yeah, Tony said France. You're next, Ray.
Argentina.
Yeah. Argentina.
Russia.
Russia,
Australia.
Australia, five,
Uh,
Just say something. Anything. Tony.
time is already up. It's failed one. Back to you,
That's
Ray.
1-1. Yeah, that's 1-1. Swiss.
Swiss,
Japan.
Japan,
Belgium.
Belgium,
Trying to think of other North American teams.
and the 15 seconds are up. Ray has won the first round. There are a couple of countries you should have said, Tony. There's Colombia, Croatia, Peru, Mexico, Poland, Portugal, South Korea, and many more.
Denmark.
Now, Ray
Albania.
one nil to Ray. Yeah, 1-0 to Ray, and we go on to the second semi-final, round one. That's Usman against Rohan, and Usman is starting. And the question is, teams in the EFL Championship. There are 24 teams in the EFL Championship. Can you name them? Usman, you're on.
Which season can I clarify?
This season.
Leeds United,
Leeds,
Derby.
Derby,
Brentford,
Brentford,
Huddersfield.
Huddersfield,
Swansea,
Swansea,
West Brom.
West Brom,
QPR,
QPR,
Fulham.
Fulham,
Stoke City,
Stoke City,
Blackburn Rovers.
Blackburn Rovers,
Cardiff City,
Cardiff City,
Swansea.
So it's already been mentioned, so that is wrong. Back to Usman.
Oh, okay.
Nottingham Forest,
Nottingham Forest,
Millwall.
Millwall,
Middlesbrough,
Middlesbrough,
Reading.
Reading,
Luton Town,
Luton Town,
Birmingham.
Birmingham,
Ipswich,
wrong. Ipswich is in the League One. Back to Ron. You've both failed one so far.
Hull City.
Hull City, still six more. 5. And time is up, and Rowan has the first round in that semi-final. Usman, there was Bristol City, there was Barnsley, there was Charlton, Preston, Sheffield Wednesday, and Wigan.
I'm glad I got the country. I'm glad I got the countries with the
What?
World Cup in 2018. That was tough. That was
Back
very
to the first semi-final. Tony against Ray. Tony started the first round. Ray, you're gonna start this one. The question is: Arsenal have scored more than 2 goals in a game against 18 different teams this season. Can you name them? It can include the Europa League, the Premier League, the League Cup, any competition. We've scored against 18 teams, 2 goals plus. Can you name them?
I'll start
Ray,
with the
you're
easy
on.
one. Yeah, I'll start with the easy one. Newcastle United.
Manchester United.
Manchester United,
So we've scored 2 or more. Okay. Chelsea.
Chelsea,
Liverpool.
Liverpool,
Oh, the Carling Cup or whatever. Yeah. Ah, jeez.
Hmm.
Frankfurt.
Frankfurt,
Everton.
correct.
Spurs.
Paras, correct.
My mind's blank.
Hey, Watford.
5, time is up. Back to you, Ray.
Watford.
Watford,
My mind's blank.
Come on. Think of Freddie Lundberg.
Still, my mind's blank.
I'm,
5.
I'm preparing for the final already.
Yeah. Time is over. Back to you, Ray. One more answer, and you've won this round.
One more.
Yeah,
West Ham.
West Ham. I'm so super confused. Who won the first round between you guys?
I
Ray
did
did.
also. Yeah.
Tony did, right?
Ray did.
No, I'm 2-0.
Ray did. So it's 2-0.
Yeah.
There's so many, Tony. We scored twice against Bournemouth in the FA Cup, Standard Liège, home and away, Victoria, Pepe's 2 free kicks, Portsmouth, Aston Villa, Norwich, and many more.
Portsmouth. Pablo
Back to
Marie. Masterclass.
what?
Portsmouth. Pablo Marie Masterclass.
Yeah.
At the back.
Back to the second semi-final, second round. Usman against Rowan. Rowan, you're gonna start this time. In the 2014 FA Cup final and the 2015 FA Cup final, before those finals, we had played 5 games each in those FA Cups in the run. So I'm not including Hull City and Aston Villa. We played 10 different teams in those FA Cup runs in both seasons. Can you name those 10 teams? Rowan, you're up.
Wigan Athletic.
Wigan Athletic, correct.
Manchester United.
Manchester United, correct. Five.
Did we play
Time
3?
is up. Back to Usman. There's so many. You guys will be annoyed not to have mentioned these teams. Five. Time is up. Back to Ron. If he failed this, Usman has won the round.
We had played Tottenham.
Tottenham, correct.
Theo Walcott has come in.
I know, Usman, it's stressful. I've been in your position last week.
Everton.
Everton, correct.
I got a few of mine. I'm just watching the tense drama here.
I think did we? I think we had
Five.
played Liverpool. We had played Liverpool.
Yeah, correct.
I thought I was in the league.
Great entertainment.
You definitely need this answer. Five.
Southampton.
Nope. Ron wins that round. I think it's 2-0 in both semi-finals.
I did not have the next answer.
Yeah, one of those games was Podolski with a fierce volley. You remember that? Anyway, go on.
There was Reading in the 2015 season where Sanchez scored twice. We played Hull City in the 2014 semi-final, or in the 2014 final, but again played them in the 2015 third round, I think. We also played Brighton. We also played Coventry. Just to make the scorelines respectful for Tony and Usman, you're gonna go to the third round. At least get a 2-1, not 3-0. So back to
Why
the
don't
first
Tony
round.
and Usman play a third and fourth place?
Yeah.
One
Yeah,
off.
they're gonna play that. Just one. Oh, so I go direct to it.
I mean,
Okay,
either
let me
ways,
go
that's
there.
fine.
Okay.
It's your game.
It's Usman against it's Tony against Ray. Sorry. So the third question is Arsenal against Chelsea in the 2017 FA Cup final. There were 11 starting players and 4 from the bench, 14 in total. I want 7 from each of you. Ray, you're first. He's gone. He's quit. He's quit.
Maybe he did.
At least we did have the final, though.
Dashed.
At least we did have the final, though.
Yep.
At least we did have the final, though. So we go straight into the final.
Yep.
Okay.
Who am I
Am I
playing?
clear enough?
Yep.
Okay. The final 3 rounds again. Round 1. There are 28 players in the Premier League history who have scored more than 100 goals. 28. Can you name them?
We go first.
Ray, you're first.
Theo Walcott.
Wrong. He hasn't scored 100 goals in the Premier League.
Okay, I went for
Thierry
a
Henry.
unknown one. Go, Rowan.
Henry.
Sure.
Aguero.
Giggs.
Am I back?
Lampard. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you listen to the answers?
I didn't hear the answers actually.
I had
Oh,
given
okay. So we can.
Shearer and Giggs, and you had given
How many were said?
Uh,
Can you remember who was?
Shearer, Giggs.
yes. So
Well,
I said Henry. Ray said Shearer. Then I said Aguero, and Ray said Giggs. And
Okay,
then
then
now it's my turn again.
yeah, go ahead,
Uh, Rooney.
Rooney.
I was going to take Rooney. Uh, Premier League, right?
Yeah,
Van Nistelrooy.
wrong. And you failed that round. Rowan has the first round. There were so many others: Paul Scholes, Fowler, Defoe, Anelka, Darren Bent, Van Persie, Gerrard, Michael Owen, Drogba, who you talked about earlier, Crouch, Lukaku. Yeah. That's the second round. In the first
Has
ever
Scholes
Premier
got
League.
over 100 goals?
Yeah,
Has scored?
yeah, I got about 105.
Okay. Ah, okay. I didn't think that. Okay.
Yeah, there are some that were actually surprises, like Paul Scholes for me. Yeah, and even Sheringham, he did stay in the Premier League, but I didn't actually think he scored more than 100.
Man, is this best of three?
Yeah, best of three.
All
So
right.
the second question now, this will test your memory. In the Premier League debut season 1992-1993, there were 22 teams. Can you name them? The teams that were in the first ever Premier League season.
Yes. Who's
Ron,
first?
you're up first.
Arsenal.
Arsenal,
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace,
Manchester United.
Manchester United,
Liverpool.
Liverpool,
Uh, Everton.
Everton,
Took my team. Spurs.
Spurs,
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
West Ham.
Wrong. West Ham was not in the debut season. Off to you, Ron.
Blackburn.
Blackburn,
Norwich.
Norwich,
Aston Villa.
Aston Villa,
Uh, Southampton.
Southampton,
City.
correct.
You didn't say that with any confidence. Newcastle.
Newcastle is wrong. Newcastle wasn't in the debut season. And Ron has won it 2-0. There was Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday, QPR, Nottingham, Oldham, Leeds, Ipswich, Coventry, and just one more question since I wrote down so many and Tony's here. We'll get the third person between Usman and Tony. One more question for you guys.
But
Just one
this
question.
one, like I was just going for the classics. Like once it got into like if it was maybe the next round, I would have probably got something wrong. I was just going for the who are the teams that have always been in the Premier League, and then
Yeah.
some of the and because Blackburn had won the Premier League a couple of years later, so I thought maybe them. And yeah, but I was going to lose this. I thought Ray had the age advantage on me.
You were not going to lose that.
Yeah. So one more question for Tony and Usman. There are 32 teams in the Champions League this season. Can you name them all? Tony, up first for the third position.
Bayern,
Bayern,
Napoli,
Napoli,
Atletico,
Atletico,
Tottenham Hotspur,
Tottenham,
Ajax,
Ajax,
Valencia,
Valencia,
PSG,
PSG,
Chelsea,
Chelsea,
Liverpool,
Liverpool,
Borussia Dortmund,
Dortmund,
Tottenham,
say that again.
Tottenham, Spurs,
It's already been said, so you failed one. Back to Usman.
Red Bull Leipzig,
Leipzig,
Real Madrid,
Real Madrid,
Red Bull Salzburg,
Salzburg,
Barcelona,
Barcelona,
Atletico Madrid,
Athletic. It has already been said. Back to you, Tony. Five, and Usman is third.
Rohan.
Welcome to the bottom tier, Tony.
Rohan's the winner, right?
Yeah, he is the winner.
He's
at
getting
least
too
I'm on the
good at this.
podium.
He's getting too good at this. Hey, Glenn, thank
Yeah?
you for the quiz. Good stuff.
No problem. Thanks.
Usman, thanks for hanging in there with us. 2
It's my
hours.
pleasure.
2 hours, right?
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me anyways.
Quite a busy day.
It's been an interesting day. Strange day also.
What was going on with the lights? You want to explain yourself there?
No. I was thinking it's about to get dark at the moment. So I
Yeah.
just decided to bring this light. So like if I kept this light on, it would show like I'm still in it. But if I showed it like red, it would just mean that I've been eliminated. But then I realized the red light was just starting to annoy me.
Elimination round. Rohan, it's getting old. You're winning these things.
Yeah.
And Tony, you did the Roadrunner a little bit there.
Yeah, but dog turned off the power strip.
You can blame it on the canine, but we know what really happened.
Yeah. Now
Hey,
I'm getting a formidable lead at
Good.
this.
What's the pressure like, Usman? As new to this, what's the pressure like?
It's basically the questions I knew I wasn't gonna completely answer. It was just one of those questions.
Yeah, yeah. When you did the EFL, I was like, I'm glad I'm not in that section. Oh my god.
No. I don't even watch the championship, and that's why I wasn't gonna succeed in this.
Yeah, that's why I
Football
started
knowledge.
with the ones that have got relegated. The ones that got relegated from the Premier League last year, and then a few of the others. But yeah, as it was going on, I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna. I was just sort of making educated guesses after that.
And Rowan, I'm just thankful that if I'd hung in there for a couple more rounds, I would have beaten you. That's all I'm gonna say. Right?
So, yeah.
And once again,
Yeah.
Glenn, good quiz, Good questions, Glenn. Usman, thanks for coming on. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for
Hey,
joining
it's
us.
been a pleasure.
Yeah. Anytime you want, just let me know. And if anyone's viewing or watching, send me a DM on Twitter or reach out to Mahir on Facebook. Let them know you want to get on the show and we can hook it up. You know what I mean? Look at the ticker at the bottom. We can do that. So, as everyone knows here, I take too long winding this show up. So, I'm just going to say, go around the panel and say, everyone, be safe out there. Continue to do due diligence with this virus that's going on and treat it with respect. Don't let up in your thinking about it. Rohan?
Yeah, now it's a long weekend in a lot of places. So enjoy the weekend, be safe, and yeah, it was fun being here. Thank you to Glenn for organizing this. This was like again, this is the most intense part of my week every week when I have to go through this, and I don't enjoy being in that situation, but it's always fun to like sort of come out the other side. So yeah, that's great.
And
Thank
Tony,
you.
you can still say that the canine did that, but we know what happened, right? Any final words, Tony?
Just be safe for the Memorial Day weekend, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And Glenn?
Thanks for having me again. Stay safe, everyone, and a happy Eid. And we'll see you guys next week.
Usman, you get the second last word.
Yeah, okay. I think I'm gonna be long with this one, if you allow me to, of course.
It's all good. Yeah.
First of all, like to all the Muslims watching this, I want to say like an Eid Mubarak. May Allah accept our fasting for the last 30 days. May Allah forgive our sins that we've committed knowingly and unknowingly. May Allah give us the opportunity to see another Ramadan next year, and may Allah bless us with every single blessing that He blesses upon us. And not only that, it is Eid, but still it's important for us all to stay safe. We always respect social distancing, follow the health and safety precautions set by your respective nations, health services. And I just want to do like a plug. I have my YouTube channel is called Usmani and Bello, where basically I just do different kind of content just for your entertainment. It's basically on my name, so all you have to type is Usman A M Bello, you'll find it. And I also have a second channel where called Usman AM Extra, where I just do vlogs, storytime videos, and reaction videos. And we're trying to hit 100 subscribers on that channel. Right now it's on 99, and I promise my viewers, if that channel gets to 100 subscribers, I will do a very deep and personal special video for that channel. So if you want to check it out, you can go ahead. I subscribe to it if you know you're someone that actually wants to watch and enjoy the content, because it'll be better not to have someone that's just going to come in and just leave after a period. If
Yeah.
you know you're going to be here for the journey, feel free.
And you only need one more, so that certainly should happen for you, right?
One more thing.
Yeah, he better start shooting that
One more
video.
subscriber, right?
Yeah.
That's all you need. One more, right? Well,
Mhm.
I'll put your information in the comments below. Glenn, I'll put yours down there as well. Check out Rohan and Tony on uh, Twitter as well, and follow Usman AM Bello. Listen, I enjoyed this podcast today. Had a good time talking all things Arsenal. And for everyone watching live and are going to watch on playback, hope you enjoyed it too. We'll be back again on Thursday night. I want to welcome new viewer again, Usman, the new panel guest for today. And yes, I'm talking too much. I'm going to wind it up right now. Until then, happy Eid, everybody. Stay safe out there. Come on, you Gooners, and up the Arsenal.